Tonight, as I'm pretty sure everybody's already said, we're here to celebrate the acceptance of these inductees in the National Honor Society. So if you're here for a different reason, I'm sorry, but this is not the place for you. After this ceremony, the students will be members of the Henry C. Lamoureux Warwick chapter of NHS. My task tonight is to give you an idea of the founder of our chapter, Henry Lamoureux himself. When I volunteered to speak about Mr. Lamoureux, I received a handy little folder with historic documents, newspaper articles, and notes from previous speakers about the man who most called Hank. He was a social studies teacher here from 1935 to 1972, and during this time he displayed and embraced the four qualities that are central to National Honor Society: scholarship, character, service, and leadership. He was an outstanding, well-respected teacher who dedicated 41 years to education, 37 of those being here at Warwick. His scholarship was evident in his work and love for teaching. Mr. Lamoureux's character was praised by many. He was ambitious in any task he took on, and he was considerate to all his students. It was clear to many that Mr. Lamoureux loved what he did and excelled at it as well. Mr. Lamoureux was never hesitant to offer his service to the community and his country. He stayed actively involved in the school and even served for our country by enlisting in the U.S. Army during World War II. Finally, Mr. Lamoureux proved himself to be an effective and inspirational leader. During his time at Warwick, he took on the role of Social Studies Department Chairman. He coached baseball and football and led Warwick teams to victory against all odds. He was a role model to all around him. I learned all this about Mr. Lamoureux from my handy little folder. I learned he often enjoyed sharing his music talent and piano recitals during study halls. I learned Mr. Lamoureux was bold enough and bright enough to solve crossword puzzles in pen. I even learned that Mr. Lamoureux continued to teach for 11 years, even after suffering from a massive heart attack. I learned so many impressive traits of Mr. Lamoureux's, but there was something that my handy little folder couldn't tell me. Why did Mr. Lamoureux start the Warwick chapter of NHS? There's no way to truly know Mr. Lamoureux's goals behind establishing a chapter of NHS, but an idea hit me this past weekend while I was watching The Avengers. In the movie, the Avengers are a team of the world's greatest superheroes who must learn to work together with each other to protect the world. Individually, each character is great in their own unique way, but they become exponentially greater when they unite as a team. Now, I'm not saying that members of the NHS acquire superhuman powers, but I'm also not going to deny it. I believe Mr. Lamoureux realized the potential behind a group of the school's most outgoing, dedicated students. I'd like to congratulate the inductees and their families and leave our new members with one request. Henry C. Lamoureux stayed actively involved in the community throughout his 37 years of teaching. Do not think of NHS as an exclusive club that only you have access to. Think of it as your team with whom you can diligently work to improve your community, your country, and your world. Thank you.